As they walked through the garage of the house kissing, the man praises Aline and says that she had to go there more often. They are surprised by a scream from Aline's husband asking what was that. Aline mumbles her husband's name and looks at her lover, and he asks if that was her husband. She answers the one who was said to be my husband and who was a shaved foot. Bravo Nivaldo retorts saying that he was working all day in the sun and she was cheating on him with this playboy. The lover asks her husband who he thought he was, and that he felt sorry for people like him, calling him a pauper and a half-assed bricklayer. The betrayed husband says he puts everything in the house, asks her lover what he did for her. Before answering, he is interrupted by Aline, who asks what it was all about, and at the same time her lover called Nivaldo a cuckold and laughed, and says that even the hairdresser's money that month he hadn't given. Pedro looks at Nivaldo and says that he didn't have the bearing to take care of a woman like that, and compares him saying that he was rich and that he would do a little work to help Nivaldo. Going to the trash can, Pedro takes the trash and throws it at his feet of the betrayed husband for him to take. Nivaldo kicks the garbage bag, tells Aline that it's a good thing his mother warned him, that she was no good and that he shouldn't have married her, and tells her to stay with her lover. The unfaithful wife calls her ex-mother-in-law a bruaca while Nivaldo leaves and says that she would never set foot in that joint again, with her lover mocking Aline's ex's mason work next door. Aline says that thank God she was free and kisses Pedro, who said he felt sorry for people like that. Further on, Nivaldo mumbles that this was a deliverance and that he would still turn around. A year later, when Aline was folding the clothes, Pedro enters the room, saying he needed to talk to her. Worried, she asks what had happened. Pedro starts by saying that he had been together for a year, but he realized that at that time their relationship was much better, and he was no longer able to look at her. Aline not understanding, Pedro says he wants to separate from her. Aline questions him about wanting the separation and says that Pedro was not thinking well, and that she was pregnant with him. Her husband says that he knew she was pregnant, and that he was very young and had made a mistake of getting married. She angry says that she had left Nivaldo for them to build a family, and that they weren't living on a whim, and Pedro explaining that Aline spent too much, all the time buying, and no one deserved to spend their life with her, and he didn't even know how her first husband managed to keep her. Aline indignantly says that she only asked for the essentials. Pedro says that she just gets messy. She, in denial, says that she could only be in a nightmare, and that she was pregnant, and asks how was she going to do with that child alone. He asks her if she really thought he would be with a woman who cheated on her husband and if she saw him as a fool. Brava Aline says that she only did that because she loved him and wanted to live that love with him. Pedro looks at her and says that he didn't even know if that child was his, and reminds her of the day that Aline had despised her first husband, and that I wouldn't be with a person like that. Crying, Aline asks her partner not to do that to her, but Pedro says that there were no more of them and it was her problem, and would ask for a DNA test just to be sure about the child, because she had some strange attitudes coming out a lot and it didn't work. To trust a woman like her, because women like Aline had many, and he wanted to enjoy life. Desperate Aline says she had nowhere to go, but he tells her to turn around, call grandma or whoever she wanted, and he didn't care what Aline would do from now on, and he just didn't want to wake up with her in that house, so tomorrow morning I wanted her to go away. As soon as Pedro leaves, Aline calls him a coward and says he would regret it. Aline doesn't wait another day and leaves that same day, and while walking down the street carrying her suitcase, she recognizes her ex-husband Nivaldo and runs to talk to him. When she gets close, they greet each other, and Aline starts the conversation saying that they haven't seen each other in a long time and asks if that car was his. Nivaldo confirms, and she asks, how did he buy it? He replies that fortune was what she spent when she was with him, who had taken their money and invested it in everything, in the construction company, and today thank God he was rich. Aline trying to get along, that she was very happy to see that Nivaldo had prospered and that he was getting his things, saying that in fact she always believed in him, and that it was good that she found him, because they could talk about the past and to catch up with them. But Aline is interrupted by a woman who greets Nivaldo while asking who Aline was, and her ex replies that she was just a friend and calls her to leave, guiding her to the car. When he said goodbye to Aline, she asks them to talk, because she was pregnant and who knows, they might not get along. Hearing this, Nivaldo asks if she was serious, but without waiting for an answer, he says he wished her all the best and gets in the car. Who is by your side always is the one who most deserves your gratitude, so cherish those who really love you.